If you're new to this channel and you're interested in mind-boggling facts about countries around the world, or just anything under the stars, please consider subscribing to this channel by hitting the red button right below this video. And on to the video.
The final Anglo-Afghan War, the greatest defeat that changed Afghan history. The conclusion of the Second Anglo-Afghan War in 1880 began the good alliance of Afghanistan and Britain. Although the country continued to be independent under the Treaty of Gandumak, its people have accepted that they would not be able to travel freely to other countries except towards India. They were free, but still chained to the rules of the British. In this video, we're going to explain why this Anglo-Afghan War was the biggest loss for the Afghans yet made a huge impact on the country. The Second Anglo-Afghan War ended in the year 1890, and following a few decades, the Third Anglo-Afghan War sparked and quickly ended only after a few months. The Third Anglo-Afghan War was also known as the British-Afghan War for the British, or the War of Independence for the Afghan. It began on May 6, 1919, when the Empire of Afghanistan took over British India. Like the previous Anglo-Afghan wars, it is all rooted in the British Indian forces seeing Afghanistan as a threat. The fear that the Russians would invade India through Afghanistan, which this event was also coined as the Great Game, provided a strong motivation for the British to begin the Anglo-Afghan Wars. In 1919, although taking part in the revolt against its British invaders, the Afghan troops was not a very strong force, only mustering more or less 50,000 men. During this time, the state of Afghan regular units was on the verge of collapse. The Afghan troops lacked training, salary, and strength. They were also short in terms of guns and ammunition. And because of the scarce supply of ammunition, the troops turned to using black powder in order to supply their ammunition needs. Moreover, they also lacked organization for the transport and arrangement of supplies. To acknowledge these shortcomings, the Afghan command seeks support from the tribes. With this, they gather up between 20,000 to 30,000 Afridi fighters, and that came from the Khyber region alone. Very different from the regular units. Tribal Lashkars outweighed the regular units by skills, strength, and weapons, mainly weapons that they created and provided from themselves, or stolen, including plenty of ammunition from the opposing troops. With this, the main conflict began on the 3rd of May, 1919. During this time, the Afghans have crossed the end west of Khyber Pass and successfully conquered the town of Bagh. Now, Bagh was an essential town for the British because it provided water to their base in Landi Kotal. In response to this, the British Indian government declared war against Afghanistan on the 6th of May. The Third Anglo-Afghan War ended on August 1, 1919, with an armistice requested by Afghan King Amanullah. The result was in favor of both sides. A win for the British because they were able to overpower the Afghan troops, although they were outnumbered. However, a victory for Afghanistan because they were able to achieve independence from the British through the Treaty of Rawalpindi. The war ended with 1,000 casualties for the Afghans and 236 for the British and Indians. Moreover, the number of the injured army was around 615. The number of cholera deaths was 566, and the number of casualties from other diseases and accidents was 334. During this, the British were able to prove that air power was one of their greatest assets. Not only did it compensate for their inadequate ground force, but they were also able to make attacks that enabled them to capture Kabul and raid the palace. After the British captured Yusuf Kal, an armistice was signed, and was followed by a treaty ending the Third War. This treaty, called the Anglo-Afghan Treaty of 1919, or also known as the Treaty of Rawalpindi, was signed to end the Third Anglo-Afghan War. It allowed the Afghans to gain independence and take back its control of foreign affairs from Britain. The treaty was decided upon by the United Kingdom and the Afghan Emirate. From this, British assigned the Durand Line as the Afghanistan-British-India border, which is now the known border of Afghanistan and Pakistan. By the end of the Third Anglo-Afghan War, the British and Indian soldiers received the Battle Honor, Afghanistan 1919. Battle honors for individuals' engagements were not issued. Britain was not able to learn from the cruelty of the First Anglo-Afghan War and had even pushed through it 3 times. After these wars, British and British-led Indian government have incorporated their politics in Afghanistan in pursuit of a different governance. Many researchers suggest that this history of Afghanistan was a foundation of its relationship with the UK.